Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because you want to get straight to the core of some really fascinating ideas without drowning in information overload.
Right, getting straight to the point.
Exactly. And today, we have a truly unique mission. We are unpacking a pretty radical essay written in January 2023 by Feng. It's titled, What is Free Comes from the Greatest Creator. What is Expensive Comes from the Devil.
That's quite a title.
It really is. And our goal today is to explore this framework that connects our everyday, grounded financial stressors directly to a cosmic battle between the divine and the demonic.
Yeah, it's a massive leap from daily life to cosmic battles.
Totally. So I want you listening to just start by imagining a world with absolutely zero price tags. No bills, no invoices, no hidden fees for just existing.
Just like completely free.
Right. Just keep that image in your head for a second.
Yeah.
Now think about your monthly mortgage statement or, your rent bill. Think about that massive number that just vanishes from your bank account every 30 days so you can keep a roof over your head.
Always a painful day.
Oh, the worst. But what if that financial burden, that specific knot of anxiety in your stomach, isn't just a byproduct of inflation or the housing market? What if your mortgage is, quite literally, a scheme designed by the devil?
Which is just an incredibly striking premise.
It really is.
And to be clear right up front, we are going to be discussing concepts like the creator, the devil, and some highly unorthodox economic theories today.
Yeah, we definitely need to set that baseline.
Right, because our objective isn't to endorse these spiritual or economic viewpoints, nor are we here to, debunk them or anything.
Exactly.
We're just unpacking the source material impartially to understand a very thought-provoking critique of modern life. Because regardless of your personal beliefs, the essay really forces a deep re-examination of why we just accept a transactional way of life as our default reality.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because to figure out why a standard bank loan is being classified as a literal demonic plot, we first have to understand the author's definition of the divine.
Right, you need the contrast.
Yeah. So the essay establishes a baseline rule. It says the way of nature is entirely synonymous with the way of the greatest creator.
Mm-hmm.
And the defining characteristic of this natural way is that absolutely everything is provided completely free of charge. Sunlight, air, soil, water.
Like nature doesn't send an invoice for photosynthesis?
Exactly. Nature doesn't charge a subscription fee for the atmosphere. You just get to breathe.
Right, but the framework pushes that concept far beyond just, physical resources. It categorizes subjective human experiences as free gifts from the creator as well.
Wait, like what kind of experience?
Well, like taking a walk and feeling a profound sense of joy at the beauty of a landscape. The text considers that a divine provision.
Oh, I see.
It even points to physical joy. The author specifically mentions the wonderful sensations of climax due to excitement as a prime example of these freely bestowed gifts.
Wow, really? So it gets that specific.
Yeah, it does. The fundamental argument here is that the capacity for deep physical and emotional pleasure is just baked into human existence at zero cost.
It's kind of like an open source operating system, if you think about it.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right, like the core features you need to run the program breathing, finding joy, physical pleasure, basic survival, they're all available to every single user right out of the box.
Exactly.
But let's look at the mechanism of that analogy for a second. An open source system doesn't just run on magic. It runs because developers push free updates to the network without tracking who downloads what. Like, no one is keeping a ledger of debts.
And that ledger concept is so crucial to this whole philosophy. What's fascinating here is how the author explicitly links the absolute absence of a transaction with pure moral and spiritual goodness.
No transaction equals pure good.
Right. The divine state is characterized by this untracked, boundless flow of energy and resources. And this isn't just about nature providing for humans. The author actually argues that humanity channels this exact divine energy whenever we act without a ledger.
Oh, the text uses a really good real-world example of this.
The UN disaster relief, right?
Yeah. When our crisis hits and affected populations receive food, tents, medicine, and clothes completely free of charge, the essay says that action literally reflects the care of the greatest creator acting through human institutions.
Which is a beautiful way to look at it.
It is. Offering help with zero strings attached isn't just being nice. It's basically operating the way the universe was originally programmed to operate.
Which sets up a very, very rigid binary for the rest of the essay.
How so?
Well, if the divine state is one of effortless free sharing, then any deviation from that state is inherently unnatural. The moment human society steps away from that gift economy and introduces a ledger, it steps away from the creator.
And that brings us right back to the mortgage payment.
It does.
Because if everything free is divine, what happens when human society starts putting price tags on our basic needs?
According to this philosophy, that is the exact threshold of the demonic.
The actual threshold.
Yes. The act of assigning a price tag forces humanity to pursue money, which is emphatically not the will of the creator. The text specifically labels this transactional system the devil's plan.
Wow.
And it uses the standard trajectory of modern adulthood as its primary example. Like, society conditions young people to grow up, buy houses, take on mortgages, and commit to making monthly payments to a bank for 30 years.
But wait, let's push back on this a little bit. Let's look at the logistics here. A massive global society can't just operate on good vibes, you know?
Yeah, it's complicated.
We don't live in a Garden Eden where food just drops into our hands.
No.
We have billions of people. We have these insanely complex supply chains, limited resources. Price tags and loans are just basic human inventions for managing scarcity.
And organizing labor, yeah.
Exactly. So how does the author justify taking a standard macroeconomic tool and calling it a literal demonic plot? Is that really fair?
It's a completely valid question, and to understand it, you have to look at the psychological outcome of the tool rather than just its logistical function.
Yeah. Okay, what do you mean by psychological outcome?
Well, the text isn't really critiquing macroeconomic efficiency. It's observing how financial systems manufacture perpetual anxiety.
Oh,
Yeah, a mortgage isn't just an exchange of money for shelter to this author. The mechanism at play is the mortgaging of your future time and labor. The price tag forces you onto a treadmill where you have to chase currency just to maintain your right to exist in that physical space.
so you aren't just paying for wood and brick. You're locking yourself into a behavioral loop.
Exactly.
Like, you might take a job you deeply dislike, or tolerate poor treatment from a boss, or sacrifice time with your family, all just to service this ongoing debt.
And that behavioral loop relies on a constant low-grade fear of survival.
Right.
Fear of missing a payment, fear of losing the house, fear of medical debt. By embedding that fear into the foundation of daily life, the transactional system pulls humanity completely out of the natural, peaceful state of the creator.
It manufactures stress.
Yes. The transaction itself is the mechanism of control. It replaces the intrinsic joy of living with the chronic anxiety of just surviving.
Okay, that makes the critique click into place for me. The devil's trap isn't necessarily a fiery pit. It's like an Excel spreadsheet of your living expenses that dictates your entire life trajectory.
That's a perfect way to summarize it.
But, I mean, this raises a massive logistical question.
Sure.
It's easy to point at a mortgage and say this is spiritually corrosive. It's much harder to propose a functioning alternative because at the end of the day, we still need shelter, we still need food, and someone has to build the houses and farm the land.
Absolutely.
Does the essay offer an actual way out, or is this purely theoretical complaining?
It actually presents a tangible alternative, not just a theoretical one. The text introduces a real-world concept called the second home of Lifechanyuan.
Second home of Lifechanyuan.
Okay. Yeah, and to contextualize this for you listening, the author isn't just philosophizing here. He actually founded a real-world physical network of communes in China under this exact name.
Wait, really? Real communes?
Yes, where hundreds of people actually attempted to live out this exact framework. The essay categorizes this community as an earthly kingdom of the greatest creator, essentially heaven on earth.
Because everything inside it is free?
Precisely. Absolutely everything is free.
So how does that actually function without a currency system?
Yeah.
Like, if nobody's getting paid, what are they getting?
Well, the text outlines a really comprehensive system of provision. Members receive food, clothing, housing, and transportation completely free of charge.
Wow.
But the framework actually goes beyond just daily commodities. It tackles the entire human life cycle. The community assumes the burden of care for birth, aging, illness, and death.
I mean, think about the implications of that for a second.
It's massive.
It really is. In our standard societal model, those four stages, birth, aging, illness, and death, they are the epicenters of our most intense financial terrors.
Oh, absolutely.
Having a baby can result in a staggering hospital bill. Figuring out long-term elder care for your parents is logistically and financially crushing. Even dying, like arranging a funeral, is heavily monetized.
It's a huge industry.
Right. So removing the financial dread from those specific life events, it requires a fundamental shift in how human labor is even motivated.
It does. In a transactional society, people provide healthcare or elder care primarily to earn a wage, right? So they can pay their own debts.
Exactly.
But in the second home model, the labor is reallocated. Members work and provide direct care to one another, not for personal wealth accumulation, but to ensure the collective survival of the community.
That is wild. The incentive structure completely flips from individual profit to mutual preservation.
Yeah, and it also extends into the emotional realm.
Wait, how so?
The essay mentions that romantic relationships in this community cost nothing and incur no debts. Yeah, there is no transactional baggage in love. There's no underlying friction about who pays for what or financial stress fracturing a marriage, which, as we know, is historically one of the leading causes of divorce.
Oh, definitely. Money fights are huge. It completely reshapes the nature of human connection when you stop evaluating your partner, or I guess anyone else in your community, by their earning potential.
Right. And the inclusion of the second home in the text serves a very specific rhetorical purpose.
It's a proof of concept.
Exactly. The author is using it as tangible evidence that humanity can exist, organize labor, and care for its vulnerable populations without relying on the devil's plan of price tags and ledgers. It's presented as a functioning alternative to the anxiety treadmill.
Which naturally leads to the most obvious question, I think.
Why isn't everyone doing it?
Exactly. If this heavenly life of free sharing is logistically possible and supposedly proven to work in these communes, why hasn't the rest of the planet adopted it? Like, why are billions of people still actively opting into the anxiety of credit card bills and rent?
Well, the essay anticipates this pushback and places the responsibility squarely on human nature.
Oh, so it's our fault.
Essentially, yes. It identifies 5 specific flaws that prevent the Earth from becoming a non-transactional kingdom. It's selfishness, greed, arrogance, laziness, and a love of comfort.
Okay, let's break those down. Selfishness and greed. Those are the standard critiques of capitalism. We understand those pretty well.
Right, very straightforward.
But let's look closer at laziness and a love of comfort. How does a transactional society weaponize our desire for comfort? Because honestly, it seems like paying a 30-year mortgage is the opposite of lazy. It requires decades of really hard work.
It does, but the comfort the author refers to is the convenience of the transactional buffer.
Transactional buffer, what does that mean?
Think about it. In the current system, you don't have to grow your own food, build your own house, or actively care for the sick in your community. You just tap a credit card or transfer funds, and those complex human needs are outsourced to unseen laborers.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, we endure the grinding anxiety of our mortgages because the resulting system provides a highly insulated, climate-controlled, on-demand lifestyle.
So abandoning that system requires giving up the convenience of, like, one-click buying on Amazon and actually stepping into a life of constant active mutual labor.
Exactly. You have to do the work yourself for each other.
We are addicted to the gilded cage. We trade our ultimate freedom for the convenience of DoorDash. So how does the author propose we actually break out of this?
The call to action is pretty uncompromising.
I figured as much.
The text urges the reader to completely abandon established lifestyles and old ways of thinking about survival. It warns that the current trajectory offers no beautiful future. The instruction is to aggressively offer free services to others and ultimately try to enter a lifestyle where absolutely everything is free and shared.
That's a huge ask.
It is, but for those who manage this monumental shift, the author promises a dual payoff.
Okay, what's the first payoff?
The first one is immediate and psychological, which tracks with everything we've discussed so far. By abandoning the ledger, you escape worldly negative emotions. Worries, pain, anxiety, sorrow, fear.
I mean, yeah, if you have no bills, you shed this specific terror of not being able to pay them. That makes total sense.
Right. But the second payoff is where the essay shifts from lifestyle advice to heavy metaphysical theology.
Well, here we go.
Yeah. It claims that by entering this free way of life, you actually break free from the cycle of reincarnation.
Wait, what? That is a massive leap. We go from escaping your utility bills to escaping the eternal wheel of birth and death.
It's quite the escalation, yeah.
How does the author even connect those two things?
Yeah.
What is the actual mechanism tying my bank account to reincarnation?
Well, it all comes back to the concept of the ledger.
Okay, walk me through that.
In many spiritual traditions that feature reincarnation, souls are bound to the material plane by their attachments, their debts, and their unresolved karmic ties.
Right, karma.
And a transactional life is literally a life built on ledgers. Financial debts, emotional debts, the constant tracking of what you owe and what is owed to you.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah. The text implies that as long as you operate within the devil's plan, you die with a ledger. You leave a metaphysical footprint of transactions that binds you to the earthly cycle.
So by adopting a life of radical free sharing, you just erase the ledger.
Exactly. You leave no karmic debts behind, which allows the soul to finally escape the gravitational pull of the material world.
That is fascinating. You essentially zero out your metaphysical balance sheet by refusing to participate in the concept of a balance sheet altogether.
Precisely. And the essay frames this choice as two completely diverging journeys.
How so?
Walking the creator's path, the path of radical sharing, is described as very difficult at first, but it grows increasingly beautiful over time.
Okay, and the other path.
Walking the devil's path, the pursuit of money, seems incredibly easy initially, but grows harder and darker as you go. The trajectory reveals the true nature of the path.
Let's translate that trajectory into a modern context for you listening because it makes so much sense. The devil's path operates exactly like a credit card with a 0% introductory APR.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Right. You get the card, you buy a new wardrobe, you book a vacation. It is frictionless. It feels amazing.
Until it doesn't.
Exactly. Because eventually, the introductory period expires. The interest rate balloons to 25%, the debt compounds daily, and suddenly, your life is suffocating. You're trapped servicing the interest, completely unable to touch the principal.
Meanwhile, the creator's path functions more like intense physical conditioning.
Like going to the gym.
Yeah. When you first step into a gym or start running, the friction is agonizing. Your muscles ache, your lungs burn, and the desire to just quit and return to comfort is overwhelming.
It's terrible at first.
Right. Giving up the deep-seated selfishness and the convenience of the transactional world is a very painful shedding of identity. But if you persist, the underlying systems grow stronger, the labor becomes a source of vitality, and the long-term experience transforms into something profoundly rewarding.
It really bridges the gap perfectly.
Yeah.
The essay argues that your mundane financial habits and your soul's ultimate cosmic destiny are just inextricably linked. The way you handle your resources dictates which path you're walking.
It does. It forces you to look at every transaction as a spiritual choice.
So, as we pull all these threads together, the core takeaway for you listening is this. Shuveng's framework offers a radically different lens for viewing your daily reality.
A completely inverted lens, really.
Yeah, it challenges you to look at the money-driven treadmill not as just a neutral, inevitable fact of modern civilization, but as an unnatural, corrosive burden that's actually designed to manufacture fear.
And it advocates that returning to a state of boundless, unleveraged sharing is the only viable mechanism for achieving psychological peace in this life.
And spiritual liberation in whatever comes next.
Exactly. It forces a real confrontation with how we assign value to the world around us. The central thesis basically demands that we recognize how the mere act of pricing a resource strips it of its divine origin.
Which leaves us with a final lingering thought to explore on your own.
What's that?
Well, the text establishes that nature provides its foundational gifts, sunlight, air, soil, water, completely freely, as the pure expression of the Creator's will.
Right. That's a baseline.
That is the open source reality we were supposedly born into. But just look at the current trajectory of human society. We are rapidly finding ways to commodify those exact foundational resources.
We really are.
We bottle natural spring water and put a barcode on it.
Right.
We trade carbon offsets, which is essentially the financialization of the atmosphere. We aggressively privatize land and soil.
It's all getting a price tag.
Every bit of it. So if putting a price tag on things is the mechanism of the devil's plan, designed to trap humanity in anxiety, what does it mean for our collective future if the very elements of nature that were meant to be free are permanently swallowed by the ledger?
That's a chilling question.
If we continue to monetize the air we breathe and the water we drink, where does the Creator's realm end and the devil's begin?
It really makes you look at a bottle of water differently.
It definitely does. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the everyday structures around you, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time.